Hey, everybody, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for yet another episode of Sarcastic Distractions, the interesting podcast for interesting people such as ourselves and just like you. And today, we are joined by the fabulous Nikki Marsh, and we're talking about all things Star Wars as we get on to episode 3 of our Wives React series. And we're going to talk about episodes 7, 8, and 9. In my opinion, probably the most divisive of the three trilogies. And so now we're going to talk 7, which is what are they called again?
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Thank you. And then we got the episode 8, which is the Last Jedi, and then Rise of the Skywalker, which is episode 9. Yeah,
Chris definitely did his homework.
Wars, man. Sure did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good thing I'm a lifelong fan, right? So yeah, let's talk about it, Nikki. So you've just watched these movies. For those that haven't seen the other series, go watch them. But if you haven't seen them, this is Nikki pretty much watching Star Wars for the first time in its entirety. And you gave us your reviews on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's start into it. What are your thoughts on A Force Awakens?
I really enjoyed them. So Force Awakens I saw back when it came out, and then I hadn't really revisited it again until this past weekend. And I got to kind of really pay attention to it again, and I definitely fell in love with a lot of different characters. So it was really enjoyable, for sure.
Right on. And
I'm so excited.
So now that you have a reference base to compare them to, now that you've seen the other 6, where do you have any? I don't want to say rankings, but do you have any? Does it fall in a spot for you that?
We're already gonna go there, are we?
Well, I'm just curious to know, right? Because I know mine, yours, and AJ's opinions because we talk about this shit all the time. So I'm curious to know where A Force Awakens would land for you, and what your takeaways are.
Well, I still really liked 1, 2, and 3, or my 1, 2, and 3, which is episodes 4, 5, and 6. No. Episodes 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm losing my mind. Anyway, but I really enjoyed 7, 8, 9. I got sad a lot, but then it was unjust almost. I didn't need to be sad. There's a lot of surprises, I guess. Yeah. And I actually cried during one of them too.
The first one?
No, not Force Awakens. I think I cried during Last Jedi.
Because I totally.
She also said that these ones had the cutest animals.
Oh my God, man!
Of
not
all of
one
them.
ugly animal at all. Like the little crystal cats, the little freaking guys on the island. I don't know what the hell they were called.
Luke milking the cow thing.
Okay, well that.
Then drinking the green milk.
I forgot about that. I think I may have blocked that one out.
Is that the same place they get the blue milk on Tatooine? Is it like a creature like that? Or
yeah,
exactly.
Think so? Just a different species, maybe. Of the same.
Imagine having to import that milk, transplant it.
Is one chocolate milk and one regular milk?
Oh.
Is the green more like chocolatey?
Really cool for the way they did the opening with Finn. And they kind of just gave you this stormtrooper that was showing emotion of some sort. And you're just kind of like, aren't these clones? For a second, right? And you're like,
true, yeah.
Oh shit! This guy's got feelings.
He wasn't a full clone.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
So it was kind of really neat to kind of be like, oh shit, these are real people now.
Yeah.
And to think of it as a cult in a way, where they're stealing children and turning them into armies. It's kind of twisted. I don't know if anybody thought about that when they initially watched it or not, but I guess I got deep about it.
and then calling themselves a new order. Whoa, wait, where do you go with this here? First orders. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty good point. And I think that was the The only other time we ever saw stormtroopers show any real emotion, I think, was when in the first episode, episode 4, when the original trilogy are, Han and Luke are acting like stormtroopers. Outside of that, I don't think we ever see them act, which I thought that was intriguing as well. It opened up a whole lot of doors. You're like, wait a second.
Well, and if you pay attention, also, this happens to all of them. I noticed it actually today for the first time I was watching Rise. There's a variety of voices when the stormtroopers even speak or give commands across sexes, types, everything. So it's one of those things that they definitely changed in the later ones.
For these ones, yeah. Wow, what an interesting change.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know where that came from. I like it.
It makes sense. It makes sense. How many clones can you have after they've stopped making them, right? The initial that initial run of however many they made, hundreds of thousands or
whatever,
tens of thousands or whatever. Yeah, so you got to get them from somewhere, and
that's true.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point, actually, because you're right. There's 2 galactic wars that happened. I mean, if you didn't deplete all your clones by that point in time, so you'd have to do something. So let's brainwash people.
Plus, in every episode, so many stormtroopers die.
Yes,
well, that too, right? Like, so many of them are being blown up.
Constant,
right? Yeah. Like giant planet-sized ships are blowing up, and they're full of people.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
like clones, whatever, depending on what episode you're watching. But
do you know who I wish they would have focused on more? But we don't really. And if please correct me if I'm wrong. Captain Phasma, we don't really touch too much on her role and who she is to the clones, and then we lose her, and oh, okay, all right.
Well, anymore. You kind of get that she's sort of, I guess, a captain to them in a way, right? Like, she's obviously head trooper or trainer or something, especially once you realize the conversations between her and Finn initially, like when she's like, why do you have your helmet off, kind of stuff. Like, there's just that dynamic of you, like, power, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, she'd be like the drill sergeant kind of thing, I think, for the whole stormtrooper ordeal, because you have your higher ups after that, right?
It's very much like a General Grievous situation where we get this character, ask a lot of questions, and then we don't really get a whole lot of answers until you go and watch other TV shows or read other books or something. So I thought it was kind of weird.
I did wish I got more information on her. Like, the only thing I have written down about her is Trooper Lady.
Now, Nikki, one of the biggest criticisms of Force Awakens is that beat for beat, it pretty much matches episode 4. Did you find that? And if you did you care? Like, what did it mean to you?
So people say that 7 was the same as 4, and 4 was that was the initial Hope, Leia and Luke story, right?
Luke and Han.
Yeah. I kinda, but not really. Like, I think it was too many different things for me to say they were that similar. Like,
okay,
as you progress through all 3 of them, I do see similarities, but I see that in all 3 chunks, right? Like 1, 2, 3 had that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They all had similar processes. Like, you could write another 3 movies based on the structure of the first 9.
Yeah.
I have to admit, just to jump in there, I actually thought they did a good job of not ripping it off. And again, now that we've kind of gone through all 9, the thing I've always liked about these, and we'll have the discussion at the end for sure, you can watch all 3 of those independent of the other 6.
1,000%. I felt the same way, Dave. Honestly, I kind of got why people criticize it, but I'm like, it's pretty original to me, and like I felt like I've watched them all outside of the series, and they hold up really, really well.
Yeah, I'd say
Force certainly has the callbacks, but
sure, yeah.
I'd say I'm on the fence. It did definitely feel very similar in certain aspects. That felt very similar to 4, but then there was some new flavor kind of thrown in on top of that. So I see everybody's kind of.
The introduction of all the new characters that you get in these 3 movies. Like 7, 8, 9, they throw so many characters at you across those 3 movies, and you're just like, why these people? And that's one thing that I want to talk about when we get to Rise too. Just because that's where a lot of them happen, where I can make the exact examples I'm thinking of. But yeah, there's a lot of new characters. It was interesting, just kind of to move on a little bit to a new subject, if I may. Sure. Kylo being Han and Leia's son. That was really cool to find. Like, I just found that kind of interesting, being that he was on the dark side.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Vader's his grandpa, like, so it's there somewhere, but I just the Skywalkers just seemed so on the light side that it was hard to believe that was the case at first.
So you didn't even suspect that until they revealed it in the movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right
I didn't really suspect it at all. I had no clue.
Huh.
No clue.
Wow.
I did not know that.
No.
I like knew right away. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely Han's kid.
That's funny.
It just was, yeah. But I makes sense that you had like this as like a first experience for you. That's really cool. That it's a big shocking moment. I feel like that would have been like our finding out Vader was, Luke's dad.
I think we got that in a lot of the publicity for it, though, didn't we? Didn't we go in knowing, or is that just Star Wars community kind of?
I don't think we went in knowing per se. I think there was some kind of rumors about it. I mean, Sith Lord, but they didn't really say. I think they were more focused on his relationship with Snoke, and that being a big piece. No one was really, from what I remember, no one was really talking about who he's related to, and he's going by Kylo Ren, not Ben.
Right.
Which,
right.
I don't whatever. But I mean,
he could have went by Ben, and I still wouldn't have known.
That's true.
Until they release, I love BB-8.
Aha, yeah, he's pretty awesome.
I'm sorry, but like and I'm like, I mean, I grew up with the first 6, so I'm not, trying to be too judgmental, but I prefer him over R2 sometimes.
Whoa. That's what I said.
I think he gives more emotion that's discernible to me. So that's why I enjoy him more. I'm sorry, you guys can cancel and end this.
So I think
I'll give you that though. No, I'll give you that. R2 was more robotic.
Well,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Whereas BB does have more. You could almost hear him talking like words in a way, like syllables. He was using the same syllables as he would if he was speaking English, but he was in tweets and bleeps and whatever. And R2 had like 3 or 4.
Beep, 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 beep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I get you there, but still,
I hear
you.
R2.
You understand R2 more by watching the lights that flash on him as well. And
That's
it
true, yeah.
gives precedence to when these movies were made.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think, when they made the other ones with R2, they weren't making something like BB-8.
That's true.
Like as practical as I've heard BB-8 is, in some of the things, but
R2 was a guy in a can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Yes.
And you had what you had, right? Whereas now they have a lot more abilities that they can do with these robots. Rey was definitely my favorite character.
Hell yeah.
In Force Awakens, 100%.
You didn't have to be a woman.
Everything about her is just badassery power.
Ray is probably my favorite character.
Still with
too.
the struggles too. Actually, that's one thing throughout the entire series. She's both sides to a certain extent. Like she just kicks ass in a great way, similar to some ways of Luke, but more both sides. That's one thing I always liked about the series.
And may I say, less whiny than Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd have a moment. Yeah, she'd have a moment or two. But you're right. She'd get right the fuck out of it and be like, "Okay, let's go kick some ass and choose some."
Yeah, she's like, "All right, I can't wall on this shit. Let's."
Everyone's favorite Disney princess, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome that Rey saves BB-8, and that's kind of how she ties herself into there. And then the whole when Finn arrives and she chases and just charges at him.
Yep.
And like she understands everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Can we also note that like she knows
Yeah.
just about every like every droid talks to her and she understands it. She also understands Chewie. Oh,
She's like a
Chewie.
communications expert,
It's like
and
that
no one
whole
ever
Force
talks
thing.
about it.
I guess it's
Yep,
probably
that's-
has something to do with the Force, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's one of her Force gifts. You know, she's clearly powerful in the Force. For
Speaking of
obvious
Kylo,
reasons. I think Last Jedi is his movie, if you ask me. So shall we move on to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the
guess-
smile you have in her. Sorry.
I guess you're right. It is more of a Kylo. It's hard to say that any of these movies were more Kylo or Rey at all because, like, to me, everybody was very much in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this one was definitely the busiest. Like, it had a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Like, I stopped taking notes because I just had to concentrate on what was going on because I've never seen this one before. I watched it for the very first time 2 days ago. So like I've been sitting here with the end of The Force Awakens, just that's it. Like I had no idea
Wow.
what happened after The Force Awakens until 2 days ago.
And it's so much different than all the other Star Wars films. What were your thoughts? Did you like it? Were you into it? I mean, that's Rian Johnson. He's a very interesting director. So I'm curious to know what you thought.
I loved them.
Yeah,
I loved it. I loved
yeah.
all the different stories. I enjoyed most of how they did things. But like I'm trying to put the movie through my head again because I mashed them all so close together. I don't want to mess the two up.
My favorite thing of this at the beginning, but even throughout, just to give you a moment, of course,
Yeah.
is actually seen Luke again and having him do, to me, what I remember as classic Luke things, like throwing a lightsaber away. I don't want this shit.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
I
And
love
is
that.
that
Suddenly
the one,
Luke
is
is
that
a
the one with
human. What the
fire
hell?
Too?
Pardon, Nikki?
Is that the one where they set fire to the tree too, or is that the next one?
That's
That's the
Is that
next
the
one.
next one?
That's the
Okay.
next one. Yeah.
This is
yeah,
the
I'm like,
one
Dave
where-
watched the
Yeah.
Rise today. So
This one's the
one where
red
we
one.
realized,
Yeah.
we realized that Luke's a crotchety old bastard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. this is
oh,
one
and
that's
she's
right.
trying to get him off the island.
yes,
She's
Yeah.
there. She's found him because in the first. Sorry, yes, that's right. Now that
Yeah.
I'm back on track. Because in number 7, the main point is getting the map piece to find Luke, and then now they're going
Yeah.
to. Now she's gone and found him, and they're trying to get
Yes.
him back.
Correct.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
I'm back on track.
They do the split story thing that we like to do within the Star Wars series.
Yes.
Right.
Gotta branch off. Gotta branch off.
which is actually fine in this one. I think because
Oh, it is.
you
Yeah,
get to
I'm
know
not-
so
yeah.
much, and that's why there's so many different stories that are a part of it. So, but like, yeah, when she's there, I love both of them when they're there. Like I like Luke being Luke, but I love her attitude back to him a lot of the times.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not taking your shit.
Yeah. She's
That's
like,
not
you're
happening.
training me. You're training
You're-
me. That's
you're doing
happening.
this.
That's
Like, and he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" But how
Yeah.
could he? How could he not have known?
No
How?
which.
How? What we find out in the next one. How could Luke not have known that? Oh, because he
No.
disconnected himself from the Force too.
Yeah, he's been secluded.
That's
for a
what
very
he's
long
trying
time.
to say to her about like, because she's like, "You disconnected from the Force."
we'll have to talk about it when we talk about the next one because I'm pretty sure there's a line that we're missing that
Mhm.
that he actually states to her, but we'll have to.
Maybe.
Nothing's popping in my head, I have to admit.
But like she gets that connection with Kylo while she's there.
Well,
Yes.
she had it in the first one. That's kind of where it started. The two of them.
Right.
What do we call that? Force link? Is that what that's called? Like what?
Something
what-
like that.
That's probably the best
Yeah.
name for it for lack
Yeah.
of
What do you
And when
guys-
you get to the
specific
third one,
term.
that's where the Emperor starts to.
Oh yeah. What are your thoughts about that? Because that was the first time they ever showed that. I'm asking to the floor. They show that type of force power. That's never. I don't think
I
it's
thought
ever
it
liked
was
it.
so cool.
Yeah,
that was
I
cool.
liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they couldn't have done that before.
It's a a great question.
So my understanding, and this is purely by understanding, I have not researched on the interwebs at all, but my pure understanding is it wasn't the two of them so much. It was the Emperor using his special powers to connect the two, but in a evilish way. So even though goodness came out of it to a certain extent, it was an evilish connection. It wasn't them, it was the Emperor.
Right, but you don't know that in number 8.
Oh God, yeah, you don't know that till
Yeah,
like,
no, you don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know that until 9.
Thoughts on Snoke?
I love the silence. Yeah.
Did you?
They've had just like they've had better, like some of the generals and commanders or whatever in the uniform that weren't Sith or whatever. They're just captaining the ships. Oops. They were more badass than him at times. It felt like, I mean, Hutz was a hot-headed redhead by all means, but he was almost more badass than Snoke at times.
General Hugs.
Yeah, General Hugs.
General Hugs.
General Hugs.
Yeah, General Hugs,
I'm waiting for General Hugs. I'll hold.
That
Plus,
was
and
one
again,
of my
a little
favorite parts.
jumping ahead of it, but he dies so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
Yeah.
felt they shoehorned a lot of, like we were saying, you said it was really busy and everything, and they just added a lot of toy opportunities, let's say. Like it seemed like this was the one that was like a toy commercial.
yeah.
Right? You could have
Good.
General Snoke for $19.99. But
By the way, it doesn't mean shit.
I didn't like him a whole bunch when I saw him the first time either. I thought he was a clone of Vader. That was my theory because of the way his stuff was all sunken in.
Right.
Like, 'cause that's kind of what you see in Vader the last time you see him as Anakin, right? It was this big kind of cut here.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Good theory, man. Cool.
I thought it was that, but I was obviously. We'll jump ahead there.
Clearly, we were all wrong.
Clearly, we were wrong.
Yeah, and actually, now thinking about it, Luke dies at the end of this one, doesn't he?
Yes.
He does. Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, so this must be where they burn everything down and everything too.
This is where we
Yeah.
get to see Yoda again.
That's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yoda, like
And
Yoda,
Yoda's-
not
Yoda-
like
Yoda- yes,
Clone
He's
Wars.
like, okay, let it on fire. And when he doesn't, Yoda's like, okay, I'll do it. Like, he just does it. I like this so Leia's connection to it all actually was kind of cool. Just her being there, and like I started to like, I always liked Leia in the other ones. I did. She was a great strong character, but in these ones it was really cool to see her utilizing the Force.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish I got so much more of that.
Well, and the
In
thing
the
is,
whole
like,
series, like the whole general scheme of things, my big end note would be like, I wish I kind of had more of her Force story.
yeah, and we've touched upon it in the previous episodes, but it's well known for the Star Wars fans out there that like she did have a mastery over the Force, and we only get like small snippets of it in this one and the next one. It's like,
Next one.
man, it would be so great to see her, rocking a lightsaber, going on missions as someone who's trained in the Jedi arts. It would have been just the best.
I think it's the next one where she does the explanation where she's trying to protect her son by not becoming forceful
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's the
for
next
sure.
one.
Yeah, I agree. But what a great way to showcase the reveal with her. I mean, it's unfortunate she's not with us anymore, but to reveal her, being dejected into space and able to preserve herself as her Force ability. I'm like, okay, that's fucking borderline like Sith shit, being able to like create life out of nothing, and like she's just protecting herself and bringing herself back to the ship. I was like, that's awesome. That was really awesome.
That one that really shocked me, and I was kind of more like, really?
It was the stretch.
Like, really? Like, she's in the middle of freaking space. Like, they're not even on a
Right,
planet
yeah.
in this one. Like, I
Yeah.
know a lot of wars happen on planets, and you kind of confuse it with space because they're on spaceships.
Yeah.
But they're in the middle of the freaking space universe, whatever you want to call it, and she just is able to use the Force that strongly. When she's strong, but you have no idea how strong she is.
It's true. Yeah.
And like,
it was
I've
a-
never.
It was a bit much.
It was a stretch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure they did it because she passed, and
Not in this one though. It
It was
was
yeah, it was
Oh,
the
she
next
didn't pa-
one.
Oh, my
was the
bad.
next
my
one.
bad.
yeah. But it's ignoring for a second that it was. I have to agree. It was just they could have had a similar scene where it wasn't that far gone. Like it was too much. I agree. It was her bringing herself back.
Yeah, which is very, very un-Leia-ish. That's
Yeah.
When
true,
you
yeah.
got thrown out a front command window, like I don't
Yeah.
know if you'd be that powerful after getting semi blown up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd
Yeah.
be pretty weak. That would need a lot of force. And at that point nobody else is necessarily sitting there connected to her. I guess other than your ancestors in the force or whatever.
Sure.
Well, if she was
Yeah,
a
the
Jedi
other-
Knight, then all the Jedi stand
Are in
behind her,
her,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
still, it's still a stretch. Let's just call it a
Very
stretch.
end, because it's also a bit controversial. So the end, Luke dies. You know, they move on to what they're going to do next, and then we see the kids in the pen, and they're able to wield the Force, but they're not Jedi. And that was kind of like the whole thing to say, hey, you don't have to be, whatever. You can be a Jedi. And what's everybody's take on that?
That was
He
8.
picked up a broom.
That was where he goes outside with the broom, right? It's almost like the
Yeah.
slave kids or something.
Well,
It's something that it is. I don't want to say genetic, but I don't want to go back to midichlorians. I don't think those count in this episode.
We
or
never
not.
talk about those
We
again.
don't talk
We're never
about them.
talking about those things.
But yeah, because I mean, why would there have been so many? It's not something that you. It's something that you learn how to use. It's not something you learn and then use.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like if you're strong with the Force, you're strong with the Force. You just might not know how to use it properly. Therefore, it never comes to any sort of major fruition, right? Whereas if those,
regardless of your background, yeah.
yeah. So I don't want to say controversial. Interesting.
Okay.
Hopeful
Yeah.
for future Jedi adventures.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't seclude it to just a school,
well,
You
I
should
think
open up.
it makes sense that there be other Jedis outside of the Skywalker circle.
You'd like
right?
to believe
Like-
that, right? Yeah.
Just because there was a school doesn't mean they were all genetically related.
Well, no, but I think the thing is by this point, the Jedi as an order is gone, right?
Yeah.
The Jedi as a cult, for lack of a better term, is gone. It's been eliminated. But again, none of them were, definitely not genetically related to Luke. But yeah, there's nothing saying that
There couldn't
it
be
can't
others.
continue to be, even though all of those Jedi were taken out. That doesn't mean the Force stops, right?
Well,
Right.
Not only that, but not every kid would have been put in a school. Not
Right.
every kid
Yeah.
would have gotten off their home planet to go and be a Jedi somewhere else.
Yeah,
Right? They're
that's
just
true.
sitting on these random planets with these abilities that they're just kind of trying to figure out themselves, maybe.
Or they just
Or
brush
they
it off
know-
and move on,
Right? Or
Yeah.
they know legend and they're just kind of, they don't have a way to do anything about it. Like, I don't know. It's all a possibility, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, was the
Yeah.
Jedi Order like Hogwarts? Like, did you have to be, you have to pay money? You have to be. Do you have to
You
pay
don't
money
have
to
to
go
be
to Hogwarts?
part
No,
of
you
the
get a
Jedi
letter when
Order
you're 11.
to have the power.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You don't have to be part of the Order to have the power, though.
Right.
That's
So
true.
again,
and
my
that's
point of view
my
is
point, yeah.
the kids could have the ability.
Yes.
Anybody can have the ability. It is simply the Force.
Yeah,
answer,
I'd
yes,
agree.
to answer the initial question, yes, they could potentially have. I
No.
want to be distracted by Rise.
Razzle Skywalker.
um,
Movie's so nice. They named it. No, it's just named it once. Okay, moving
they
on.
just named it. This is one that had another few nice surprises for me,
Yes.
Okay.
which are similar to the same one, like the Chewie surprise.
We'll talk about it.
But we'll talk about them. Yeah.
Talk about it.
So
Tell us about it.
tell us about it. Tell us a story. When Chewie was captured, but that's like way into this movie, is it not? Yeah, that's a bit far. We need to go back a
it
bit,
is
back
Yeah.
a bit before we talk about Chewie. But I guess I started with, because this one starts where they're going to try and find the little pyramid things, or it
Yes.
starts with Kylo finding one,
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
and we
Yeah.
get to see
The
Emperor.
holocrons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but yeah.
It's a Sith Wayfinder.
You watched
Oh,
it
Sith
today,
Wayfinder,
Dave.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
And then he goes and he visits and he gets down and actually see Palpatine and all the good
yeah,
stuff
we
right
get
at
to see the
beginning.
Palpatines alive.
Yep. Well,
And
yeah, in his
back to
own
the whole
special way.
falling down, a whole thing.
Kind of
Yeah.
alive.
So yeah, he's being run by machines essentially.
Yeah. And you have the super Star Destroyers too.
Oh, I
and
want one.
he
I
is
want one.
creating the final order.
Yes.
The final order.
And this is what we're realizing that okay, this is our war in this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all right,
I didn't
cool.
mind
So this is
Palpatine
happening.
still being alive. That one actually didn't bug me too much. What I found or bugged me was just how suddenly out of the water comes all the Star Destroyers. And it's like who's flying them?
I know, and their whole excuse is, well, nobody knows what this planet is. No one can find it.
Yeah.
And no one knows.
Well,
what-
who's going to fly them?
Nobody's passed by Exegol. No one at all seen anything. We're like, hey, does anybody notice
Yeah.
giant fleet set? No. Okay.
Yeah, not to mention like there's only 2 maps in the entire galaxy that can get you to this place, and yet they have enough people to command all these things. But it makes but it also makes me wonder because he has these like force beings or whatever down there with him, right? They're not people, so I'm wondering if that's who's doing most of the.
And
And that is a good point.
Yeah,
he also has a cloning technology down there,
Yeah.
that's true.
right? Because when Kylo's walking through, you see there's like 3 or 4 Snokes in
Right.
this one tube,
Right.
right?
That is
Well,
a
and
good
so,
point.
and himself too, right? Technically speaking, he's a clone, right? So-
yeah,
yeah.
So they allude to in this one that the Sith have
Good point.
that knowledge or that technology to
Mhm.
clone
Yeah.
peoples. So maybe I don't know. I'm just saying maybe that the people flying these ships
Oh yeah,
are clone clones.
Are there?
for the
That's true.
well, we know that later on some of them are like people that you see in the other movies, like the commanders and the generals and stuff like that you see on
For
other
sure.
ships are essentially there at the end. Like they're crafting a couple of them at the end, not clones. But that's also that opening scene is where you find out that it wasn't Snoke doing anything, that it's been the Emperor this whole time.
Right.
Like he's
Which was
been
a-
this connection between Kylo and Ren, and you still don't know, or Rey, and you still don't know why.
Yeah.
But he's doing something with these 2 individuals, and you're like, oh great, this fucker's involved. We get to Rey and everybody, and they're on their hunt.
Yep.
To get through.
Yeah,
over
another-
another
to,
vagary thing.
the
well,
celebration.
they're going
planet.
to find
the
the clue to where
Right.
this
Sorry.
ship Sith finder
Place
is.
is.
And you're right. It is a dagger. Is what it ends up being.
Mhm.
Is the dagger that they find in after they fall through the sinking pit. So they conveniently fall into the same
Yes.
spot they need to be.
Yes.
How
course.
convenient.
Oh yeah, conveniently. It's like
But
when he
Lando
destroys
shows up.
the shuttle. Chewbacca wasn't on it, so it's fine.
Yes, I know.
Lando does show up. That was kind of fun.
I will talk
sure.
about Chewie.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. I was.
What did you
oh
think
my
about-
God.
What did you think about Lando Calrissian showing back up?
I thought it was cool. I thought
Yeah.
it was a nice way to kind of return those other lines into it, like because they keep saying like we put this beacon out and no one came. We took this beacon out, no one came, and then you start to see these reminiscent characters of people like Lando, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe people are paying attention to kind of what's going on, and it's not just me watching this war over here. Like,
Yeah.
so it was nice to
Good
see
point.
him, right? Because it was like, okay, I think people are paying more attention, like, and some people are still hearing Leia's message, which was good.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then,
it was a helpful addition.
But then, they still end up leaving him. They fall into that sinking pit. Conveniently, that is also where the dagger's located, and that's where we find out that Rey can heal people
Mm-hmm.
because she heals the snake just by instinct. And so I'm
Yeah.
thinking here, but 5 minutes ago, she didn't save them from sinking in that freaking pit.
Well, that
I
was
mean,
the
it wouldn't
one
have been
lesson
convenient.
that was the one lesson Luke skipped out on. He didn't help with that part. He only helped with the force healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do
Yeah.
sinking,
No sinking
pits.
pits.
So
Just lift these rocks and visualize.
the rocks are too small inside. I don't know how. Just shut up and lift it.
Right? I lifted a freaking ship out of the water. You can lift a stone.
Exactly. Or just the whole damn snake. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Right? Or just, yeah. Anyway, so she heals the snake, which is really cool. And, like, conveniently, they get out. Inconveniently, 3PO can't tell them what he knows.
Yeah.
Because he's
That was-
not
that was-
allowed to translate. It's like, oh, okay, well, we easily got the dagger, but maybe they're like, the writers are like, oh, wait, they found that way too easy, guys. We got to do something. It's like, okay, well, he can read Sith, but he can't translate it for them. Fuck off.
Thanks, bud.
Like, there we go. We
Yeah, I
fixed
think
that.
that-
We're good.
I think you're right. I think they wrote themselves into a hole for that one. They're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
crap. We screwed this up, guys. We got to do something. That was too easy.
ah.
But then we get to meet that little cute guy.
Yeah, that's my favorite character in this one.
Frick.
Babu
Babu
Frick.
Frick. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm
Yeah, I liked him a
C-3PO.
lot.
Hello.
But before we get there, we have the whole Rey being like, okay, hold on, I'll meet you guys at the ship, which is her convenient line, which was Luke's convenient line, which is every Jedi in history's convenient line. Yeah, I'll meet you at the ship.
It
Sure
works.
you
It
will.
works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
They never
want,
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet,
So then they send Chewie to go get her, but what I don't understand is Finn could see her out of the front of the ship. So they obviously knew what direction she went in. How did Chewie not just suddenly pop up behind her? Like that the visual didn't work with him suddenly being on the other side of this mountain getting captured. What the hell?
No, he was going down.
the hill goes down that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
He go down the hill that side, and then he would have walked around.
Yeah.
Sure. If that makes you guys feel like that's why it makes sense, then sure.
Because Rey was force speed walking.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right,
He
yeah.
floated.
Heel
Christ.
heel toe. You know, she was just force speed walking down the.
Finn's hair.
That's-
Oh.
Right, Finn's hair.
Oh.
Yeah, let's tell us, Dave, how much you love that hairstyle.
Oh. He was a great character, and then the hairstyle.
Is
Just
that when they give him like the wormy head thing? Like he had the little,
Yeah.
yeah,
little
it
twisty
was a
things all over the
something.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. From that point on, I was like, sorry, dude. No, you're not up in the list anymore.
I don't care if you got force powers. We're not friends.
Yeah. No, can't be happening. I'm 100% with Ray now.
Speaking of hair and design that way, like costume wise, just to kind of go along with that, the Knights of Ren are some of the best suits I've seen in the entire series.
Yeah.
They were so cool. Like
It would've been
so
nice-
dark and
Yep.
like it just
Yeah.
that's what the Sith should have looked like since the beginning. Like everything's like that was a scarier suit than Darth Vader's. Darth Vader was shiny,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not scary
Yeah.
if you're shiny.
Yeah. No, Knights of Ren looks good. When they start
Yeah, I
fighting
liked
them
it.
too in a bit, oh, it's just, yeah.
Oh yeah, near the end there.
So good.
For,
Yeah.
That's really good too.
I kind of wish we got like, and maybe we will one day, but like a Knights of Ren story. That would be really great to kind of flesh out that
That
whole
would be-
bit. That would have been because they weren't just undead, were they? Like they were originally alive, weren't they?
I see. I don't know. Yeah, it was. I
Yeah.
found that they were very underutilized
Yeah.
in
for
this
sure.
in this film for sure.
They were focusing on Kylo. That's
yeah.
why. And
Yeah.
I think they should have had them around him a lot more because
Oh,
like
yeah.
he was a knight too, essentially, was he not?
Well, yeah.
So it made sense for them to all be together, and it was confusing as to why he was doing all this stuff by himself. Like I get going to certain moments by himself, but like when he's in command and he's doing all these things, and like he's got regular people walking behind him instead of the Knights of Ren, which just seemed weird.
Yeah. When you're supreme leader, why the fuck don't you have your knights following you around? Agreed.
Right?
That would,
Like,
yeah. That's,
But it also pays
They were
to
for the Emperor.
his personality in a sense of that he had a lot of conflict.
yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right, he
Yeah,
had
he wanted
a
to do everything
ton
himself.
of conflict on this whole dark side, light side thing, and he's still
Yeah.
battling with killing his dad and shit
Yeah.
like that. So
Because it's not till Leia passes away that he really finally kind of comes over.
I just
Yeah.
realized that I haven't talked about a very cool character that I actually have loved throughout this entire 3. Maz.
Oh yeah, Maz is awesome. Yeah, she's great.
Like, I didn't even talk about the scene in Force Awakens where Rey's called down to the lightsaber. Like that was so badass. So just to note that. Woo, moving on. You can take that in audio and just cut it into the beginning, right? Yeah, perfect. And then she's just kind of pops in and out throughout it, and I just love that she's there till the end. Like I just think she's such a cool character to have.
Yeah.
But,
Very,
yeah,
very,
I
very
forgot about her
insightful
for a
character.
minute.
Oh. Fun fact. So that I think her name's Zora, the Rocketeer character, was played by Miss Carrie Russell.
Oh,
Felicity. Yeah. So there's a high praise cameo. And also Kevin Smith has a Stormtrooper cameo. In
was it this one or was it
scene.
the first one? Or was that the same scene?
No. I'm pretty sure it was number 9.
Daniel
sure.
Craig was in episode.
He was?
episode
A lot of celebrities.
6, 5,
Yeah,
6,
a lot of
7,
celebrities will get
7.
their cameos in. Yeah.
Too many numbers.
Most of them will do it for free. They don't even care. They're like, well, yeah.
Oh, well,
I
yeah,
was
I
in
was,
it too.
I was in Star Wars.
I was a stormtrooper, but I was in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I saw you, Dave. I think I saw
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
I was an alien in a bar.
Oh, nice. Right
Nice. Very nice.
on. Nice. Right on. Right on.
I
was,
won't make the didn't need much makeup joke.
I was the grip boy behind the camera, doing all the bitch work for everybody. That's what I was doing. Right on.
And
Okay.
then I guess from there it just kind of builds up. Like there is Rey just kind of takes off and goes into the Death Star to get that map, and then
Yep.
Ren and Kylo just crushes it.
Yep.
And then you kind of see her almost give up. Like she wants to just give up. She's done. Like because she runs away.
She bounces back to the island, right?
She runs away to the island,
and that's when.
and she's like
Leia
burning
dies,
a bunch.
though.
She's burning Kylo's ship. Oh,
No, because Leia dies.
oh, right. Sorry, the fight
there's
with
that whole-
Kylo.
both of
Right,
them.
there's that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Both
where-
of them lose their shit. Like he loses dark side, she loses light side. Yeah, that's that
Right,
moment
that's
where
the
the story
moment-
twists.
Right,
Yeah.
because they're fighting. Sorry, yeah,
Correct.
they're fighting, and then she actually saves his
Yes.
life, which is
She stabs
again,
him. Yes.
but she realizes what stabbing him did, right?
Yes,
Because he
her
hears
perspective.
like Leia's final big push in the Force, which is going to take her out. Just like apparently the Force, once you use the Force enough, that's when you die. Apparently, because the same thing happened to Luke. He did this big Force thing, and then he died. So one
you gotta go
final
with a
act
bang.
of the Force and you die. So she says his name, which stops him from, I guess, essentially killing her, and
And
gives
then
her
she's
the
trapped.
chance to get him. But when she does that and feels the missing piece of Leia in the Force,
Yep.
it just crushes, and that's when I cried.
Right.
Yep.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And that's
wow.
when I cried, because it was just wow. And then she saves his life, and then I'm still sitting here, even though I know, like, did we figure this out? Do we know about the granddaughter yet? Now at this point,
Yeah, I think
Yeah, it's-
Kylo was told.
Kylo was told,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
were told.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
we know
yeah.
she's Palpatine's
But Rey
granddaughter.
doesn't
she
know at
doesn't
this point.
find
Rey
out
doesn't know,
yet.
Yeah.
No. And at this point in time, just before their big battle, we get to see that glimpse of evil or Sith Rey, where she has that weird switchbladey lightsaber thing. And yeah,
Again, when is number 10?
It's not.
They're-
It's all done.
it's not
It
happening.
is done.
No Skywalker Saga.
Apparently,
The
no more Skywalkers.
The
Yeah.
first thing I said at the end of it all, I looked over to AJ and said, "So when's the next one?"
Nice.
Be a Jedi that's like, "Hey, maybe I should tell my gang where I'm at.
Let them know where I'm going.
Like, I should probably tell them what I'm going and getting myself into here, so
Mm-hmm.
that they don't just pop up and sort of save me. There's a reason they're here. I told them, like, because they always pop up and save them in the other movies.
Yeah, it's a constant common thing.
But in this one, it makes sense because she told them where to go.
Yeah, good point.
They show up, they start the battle, you know. We get to actually see Palpatine, like his actual strength as an individual, like where he's actually shooting light. I think I might be jumping ahead a bit in plot, but where he's shooting lightning
Okay.
at every single thing in the sky. Like
That was
shit,
awesome.
man.
That
What's
was
with
after
your,
he
like,
drains them of their life force. Or
Yes,
whatever.
you're right. That is
Gets
after
his
he
nubbies
started
back
the
and
drain.
stuff. Yeah.
That's right. You're right. I am jumping a bit because I always remember that scene. Like, if he had that power way back at the start, why not just be walking around me like zap, zap, zap? Like, You don't need to
Right,
be
yeah.
all political. Just walk in there and start electrocuting people.
For sure.
You know, apparently the life of 2 brings zombies back from the dead. I just
yeah,
loved
it's true.
that whole entire ending. To me was just really cool and really well done. Like there was a few things like you're right. Like he falls down this hole and he gets back up afterwards. Like she's dead. Like
Yeah.
killing him killed her
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep.
And so she's dead and he just crawls back. So she dies.
Mhm.
She dies from killing somebody, but he lives from falling down a hole, which makes complete sense, obviously.
He fell down a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Star
Fell down a
Wars.
hole. Yeah.
Conveniently.
I mean, he's a Skywalker. He's gonna fall down a hole. It's gonna happen.
Right, exactly.
Not it's either that or he
I
loses
don't
a
know.
hand. So,
She could have done the same thing. She's a Palpatine.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's it.
But like it was really cool. I was kind of I don't know. I was okay with Ben dying after giving her life again because it made sense, but it was confusing because they were still living after giving life and essence to Palpatine. So it was like, how does this actually work?
Well, he didn't
Yeah.
suck it all up.
I get that, but it doesn't. It just
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
It just doesn't
It just
add up. The
doesn't.
math's not there. I'm sorry. The math, my brain can't.
Are you saying
see
there
it.
are plot holes and certain things don't add up? And
Yes.
One thing
yes,
I
they
liked
are.
about these last 3 is they really tried to get away from this "you are light" or "you are dark," and they made it more of there's the ongoing conflict. Rey had conflict where she was tempted, really solidly tempted, and then we saw, of course, the nicer side where Ben is coming back, and that's the thing I liked about these three, in my perspective, these three, which is, yeah, there's good, there's bad actions that you take. There is no true light or dark. You are not just stuck
Right.
in one lane.
yeah,
Right.
there's no light
Ever.
force or dark force,
Right.
right? It's the force, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
And you kind of get a glimpse of that theory, of your theory, Dave, when you're told the Luke and Kylo story, because Luke kind of has this conflict even later in life. As a master, he has conflict in what to do about what he sees in his nephew.
He brings out his lightsaber and has a moment where he may strike him while he's in bed, but chooses not to.
Which is
And this is
Yeah.
this is considered the greatest Jedi to ever live. And
Benicio
yeah.
Benicio del Toro's character touches on it a bit too when he's taking the bribe or taking the reward for turning them in. He's like, there's no good side or bad side, because they were talking about the new
the business.
these guys sell arms to these guys, but they also sell weapons to these guys, right? He wasn't this arms dealer's not on the good
Either
side or
side.
the bad side. He's just it's just business, and you can kind of extrapolate that to what's being said here in regards to there was less of that. There's more of a gray area in this one as opposed to light or dark, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. From my perspective, she's the
Yeah.
pure neutral. She came from
Hence-
the dark side, Palpatine Aeol, but she has since moved more to that neutral.
Hence the
my
lightsaber
perspective.
color.
Right.
Yellow, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
why I think they could kind of build off her and kind of create almost a world in itself based on this balance of the Force.
Right.
Like she's
we'll-
obviously both. She's obviously both of them balanced, and that's why her saber isn't red, it isn't green.
Oh,
Yes.
that's how
I
Luke
agree.
brings balance to the Force.
Right. He
Yeah.
brings
Yeah.
balance to the Force with her because she's
Yeah.
Go
She's
ahead.
that pure balance.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that was always my question through the whole series. Is like, Luke is supposed to bring balance, but how does he if he is a I kind of just
if he takes
Well,
off
I kind of just
Here's the
realized
thing.
that right now was like him training her was how he brought balance to the Force, because like Dave's saying,
Yeah.
it was more of that gray area versus light or dark. But
but remember,
Anakin
Anakin was supposed to bring balance to the Force, and then Luke was supposed to bring balance to the Force,
Mhm.
and now Rey did, and through Luke, right?
Well, Anakin brings
Absolutely.
balance to the Force by fathering Luke,
Yes.
and Luke brings balance. It was more of a lineage thing, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if it was a direct. I don't know if it was a direct, like he was supposed to, kill somebody or whatever to bring
Yeah.
the balance.
But again, that brings us back to the similarities between every chunk of episodes, right? Like you,
Sure. Yeah.
in every 3 chunks, there's somebody that's the last hope.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
There's always one
Anakin, our
person.
last hope. Obi-Wan, our last hope. Luke, our last hope. Rey's our last hope.
The one thing I did like about these three, from my perspective, Ray is huge in it. Without her, yeah, we're all going to get our asses kicked. That's without a doubt. But by the same token, without the whole support around her, she would have got her ass kicked in a lot of ways.
True. Yeah.
She had great
She needed-
support, and she had the
Yes,
best
I mean-
teachers.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
the 7, 8, 9, there were still key characters, still people kicking butt like they're supposed to, but without the true support, who, like, it wasn't somebody that just stood there, shot one shot, got lucky. No, these are people that are part of it. I don't know. That's one thing I liked about a lot of the 7, 8, 9. It was just, it really was, the power is important because it's key, but you also need all the fucking support and all this other shit going on.
And for your pleasure, there is 3 more movies coming out, Nikki. There's another trilogy coming out, and it's being done by Ryan Johnson, I believe, the guy who did episode 8. And the funny thing is, it'll have nothing to do with the Skywalkers. Not a thing.
Yeah.
No.
So
You might
it
give
is-
them a reference, but it'll be other stuff that's going on within the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
Outside
I'm
of it.
okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
It's
I'm
time
down.
to this guy. You know what? I'm on the fence of Skywalkers. I love y'all. It is time for y'all to move on.
Star Wars: The Chewbacca Saga.
Yeah.
But now, do we mean that, like, no Rey?
Yeah.
Yeah. We might get reference of her. We might.
For
Who
my
knows?
viewing
Maybe she'll
pleasure? What
show
the hell
up
are you
or
trying to say?
something. But there's just so Star Wars, as you know now, is a very vast universe, right? There's tons of stuff, and the whole point is to try to move away from just the Skywalkers. That's been 9 major movies. There's what, 2 other ones or 3 other ones that don't necessarily line up or don't necessarily involve the Skywalkers, but the Skywalkers influence them. That's why we have them. So the whole point is to try to move away from just the Skywalker story and tell all these other awesome Star Wars stories that we just don't hear about unless you're nerds like us and read about it, whatever, watch shows, whatever. So that's the kind of thing. So yeah, like it or not, we're gonna get more Star Wars, just not Skywalker.
Just not this story.
Star Wars.
So they gave
Right.
us stories like
This story's
Solo's
done.
story and stuff like that, but they're not going to
I'll
give me
give you-
Leia's story.
Well, that's the thing.
No,
I think it was
no,
after. I think it might have been after, because that would be. I'd consider that not necessarily part of the Skywalker saga. These 9 movies, but it ties into, and so does Rogue One. It ties into this specific story directly. Whereas
Yeah.
there could be something happening that has nothing to do with the Death Star and the Empire on another planet in
Yeah.
some other solar system or star system or whatever, but it still has to do with the Star Wars world.
Right.
Mhm.
And Jedi or the Force or whatever. I think the Force will be the one thing that plays a key
Yeah,
role in
That'll be
all
the-
of these stories,
the connective tissue. Yeah.
but the Darth Vaders and the Skywalkers and the Chewbaccas and all that, yeah, no R2.
Here's an example for you. There was like a decade ago, I think, when Lucas still owned Star Wars. He had written a show with somebody where it was supposed to take place on like this dirty, grimy planet and all the goings on that happens on this planet. They had written something like hundreds of hours of material. They were just waiting for the technology to catch up to be able to do it. They've now sold off to Disney, and I think Disney very well may resurrect that, where it's just stories about Star Wars that have nothing to do with the characters you've seen in these nine movies. So
Is it going to be like the goings on at the cantina on Tatooine, the Mos Eisley cantina, but it'll be like Cheers.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
that'd
like,
be great.
It'll be like Friends, but Star Wars Friends.
who ordered the big beer?
Gabulada.
Let's ask Nikki now how she ranks these 3 movies within themselves, and then where she ranks them in the other 9.
I did not do my
I knew
homework
you were
and
gonna
go.
ask this.
I did not go. I knew he was going to ask it, and I still didn't go back and listen to see what my original order was in the last 2. I think it's been different every episode, to be honest. So if you've been listening to all of
That is
them, then
fair,
I
actually.
apologize. But I mean, it should be a little different in all of them, as I like different ones. I still really like. I'm sorry, Dave. I really still like the original episode 1. Like, they're not original. How do I say this? Episode
A
1.
prequel. Just say episode 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode
say
1.
it, yeah.
Actual episode 1.
That's still your top movie?
the Anakin story, man. Like I just
Wow.
but these three start really pulling all of my direction. Because I just really enjoyed these three. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool to finish out the Skywalker characters, like to kind of end Luke's going ons and to have Leia, like all those people that did pass on in those three, it made sense.
Yeah,
like all their deaths made sense. Like Han, Leia, and Luke, it made sense. And so I wasn't really disappointed in any of it. Like I said, I do wish that I got to know a bit more about Leia in all of it. Like I kind of feel like maybe we could have had more of like the Leia, like the way that Luke and Rey were depicted, have a little bit more of that with the Leia side of it, because they
Sure.
have a connection together, but like they don't show a lot of it. Like, I mean, you get the gist that she's been training there since the end of number 8 or whatever, but so there's things that I don't like, but I think in general, yeah, I'd probably still, my Anakin story is probably still one of my favorite stories.
So
I love
let's do
them.
this, make it a little easier. If you had to group, let's just group the 3 trilogies. If you had to rank the trilogies.
7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, so you
All
still
right.
put 7, 8, 9 as your top. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
all right.
Well, the way you were
Because-
talking, it
because-
sounded like 1 was your favorite.
Well,
Yeah.
it would be, but 2 and
Okay.
3 would not match up to 7, 8, 9 for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got you.
So
Okay.
so grouping those 3, I would have to put them underneath 7, 8, 9
Okay.
because of 2 and 3.
So you'd go 1, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 9, 1, 9,
Oh, the 1.
so weird.
It's fucked up.
7, 8.
I have a divorce lawyer on retainer, just simply because of that.
Please, our tens of fans, don't leave us just because she likes episode 1 more. Okay.
Out of everything.
I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right.
I'm sorry to disappoint.
Oh yeah, 7, 8, 9. I enjoyed all 3 of them. They don't, in my opinion, top Empire or New Hope, but they're right there. Like I
Agreed.
like them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
they're
my
really good.
list. Yeah, my list was still it's Empire, New Hope, top 2, easy peasy, and then for me 9, 8, 7, 7, 8, 9. They're, to me, they're all basically the same, so they're just
Yeah.
that group.
They all
And
had
that-
something really cool about them.
Yeah, exactly. To
Mhm.
me, there was the story. It was fun. I sat and I watched them. Like it was cool. I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 to be more cheesy for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. 2,
Yeah,
1, 2, 3
yeah.
are my low 3, and I, as much as possible, try to not accept that 1 even exists.
Yeah. It's really.
It does. It does.
Oh,
Watch it through my eyes, Dave.
what
I do
timeline-
appreciation.
If Dave had one of those men
timeline are we
in,
living in right now?
if Dave had one of those men in black,
That's right.
neuralizers, he just neuralized the whole number 1 never happened.
Existed. No.
The only
That'd be
it was
like
only
sequels to Matrix,
it was a
never
duo.
I think when everything is back to a bit more normalcy and we can actually sit down in the same room, Dave, you and I should watch number 1 together. I'll point out all the good things for
Oh
you.
my God.
It'll be okay. It'll be
We'll do
okay. I
that.
promise.
We'll
By the end of
do-
it, you'll accept it at least. At least.
If I
We'll
just
do
say
a
I accept
live
it, we don't have to
stream.
do it, right?
Do a live stream of us watching episode 1 for sure.
Yeah, and you're just telling Dave how he should watch it. That's
Dave. Like, Dave, open your eyes. This is a
Open
good
your eyes.
part. Dave, take the earplugs out. God damn it.
Stop knitting. Jesus
Stop
Christ.
knitting. Pay attention.
I can't. I'm knitting a blindfold woman.
Yeah.
I can't knit it fast enough.
all right. One final question as we get wrapped up here.
Well, before we get to the final question,
sure, sure.
Chris, your opinion.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Chris, you haven't given your order, yeah. Nice
Well,
try.
Empire's always tops. Like Empire is one of my favorite movies ever, and I would say A New Hope falls within 7, 8, and 9. Out of the order, though, I would say, everyone's gonna hate me for saying this. Out of those 3, I'd probably go 8, 9, 7. Out of the 3 new ones, I like the most. I don't know why. I just yeah, and then yeah, like the other 3, fuck him. I hate the first like I love that this is bonding of the story, but like getting through those movies is always a slog for me. Like it's always like, all right, okay, let's do this. In fact, when episodes one is on, I almost guarantee you, because I'll put it on because it's got I gotta watch it, but I will have something to do for the first 3/4 of that movie. Like,
1, 2, 3. I knit while watching them. 7, 8, 9. I got the knitting out. I get maybe a stitch or two done.
So,
All right. If that's the scale, I understand it.
So yeah, that's what it would be for me. Like, I mean, would probably go. My ultimate would be 5, 4, and then it would probably be 7, 8, 9, or sorry, 7. No, 8, 7, 9, and then we're gonna do. Then we'll probably do episode 6, and then you can rank the other 3. Fuck, I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Okay, Chris, you're gonna join us on this live stream, and you're gonna watch as well.
Yes, you gotta teach me.
I've already explained to AJ all the parts. He just won't admit it.
Wow.
Number 1 is the greatest movie ever.
She got him.
I got him.
Jedi mind tricked him.
Google gobble, one of us.
So here's my last question before we wrap this up, and this is, I mean, mainly for Nikki because we're all going to say the same thing. You've now watched the Star Wars experience from a very analytical and note-taking perspective. Would you recommend that for others? I mean, I don't know who was listening or watching us that hasn't seen Star Wars before, but that's the case. Is it a worthwhile experience to spend on 9 movies?
I think if you're into sci-fi and you're into, I would almost go in a way fantasy just because of the whole Force world.
Yep.
If you're kind of into that thing, absolutely.
If you love space wizards,
but watch it in the order I watched it. I really think if you haven't watched it, it's worth watching it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because why not? That's how the story goes, and you might as well learn the story that way. That's my opinion. That's just because that's how I've watched them. I'm sure when I initially watched the first 6, may have been the other way around. But watching them this way through to pay attention to the stories and to kind of, like you said, analyze it. Like I'd like to watch them again now without analyzing it and taking notes and stuff like that for a podcast because especially 8 and 9, now that I've just recently saw them and I fell in love with those. It's kind of like, oh my God, I saw it in the theaters yesterday, but is there a copy online? Because I want to watch it again. So like I would definitely, I mean, analytical is kind of cool way to watch those movies too. But
yeah.
And if you just like good stories, like if you can ignore plot holes and you like a good story, you should be all right.
You should enjoy the space wizards and lightsabers. And all
I'm not saying
stuff.
everyone's wife would enjoy watching it, but I did.
Hopefully some will. The cool ones will. The
cool ones do.
You know who you are.
The next thing is convincing AJ to watch all of the Doctor Who series with me.
Oh, I'll do that.
I don't have years.
Well, yeah, I guess all. What do you mean by all?
Yeah.
Like all the way or all since?
Are we talking from like the 70s?
Yeah.
There's a certain time we would start at. I wouldn't go as far as the 70s.
Like David Tennant, or like what Doctor would you start at?
I'd have to think about that one.
I'd
have to think about that one.
Christopher Eccleston.
Oh yeah.
I liked his Doctor Who.
That would be an okay place to start. Maybe a Doctor or 2 before that. Just because. I want to subject him to it.
For sure. I think you should watch Doctor Who. But before we get into a sarcastic distraction about Doctor Who, let's save that for another podcast. Up here. All right. I just want to say, Nikki, thank you so much for doing this and going through the experience and having this fun with us. This, like we talk a lot about our favorite shit all the time, and this has been by far like maybe my favorite conversation. I don't know, but like just getting all these new bits on Star Wars like revitalizes my love for it. So I'm just grateful that you took the time and did all this and had a lot of fun with us. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Anytime. And if any other movies you guys want me to try and check out, I'm open to it. Except
Fifth Element.
E.T.
Except for E.T.
Oh wow.
What?
That alien is fucking scary. I don't give a shit what anyone says. That is the creepiest alien in the world. I've watched every Star Wars movie, and I'm telling you, no alien is creepier looking than that fucking extraterrestrial ET.
He was in episode 1.
He was. Yeah.
Don't care.
So
Yeah,
ET and Star Wars take place in the same cinematic universe.
And that's why it shouldn't
True.
happen. I do not like looking at that alien at all. I've had a fear of that alien since I was a kid.
Listen, I'll give you. I'll echo that a bit. I know you've never seen it at all, E.T.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Oh, I
So the
have.
whole
When I was a kid,
scene
my
when-
brother used to chase me with the case.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Well, wow, that's what a brother. Well, with the whole Elliot scene and the whole airlock thing, whatever, that scared the shit out of me as a kid too. I thought that was really, really weird. I don't know why. So I mean, maybe
Yep, I really want to sit here and talk about the
You people
scenes.
are weird, man.
Uh-huh.
You people are weird.
Sure.
Anyway, are we signing off?
Anyways, let's sign off now. Get out of here because we're gonna get distracted again. Nikki, thanks so much. And for everybody out there that's watching, you like Star Wars, you like whatever, let us know what you want to talk about. Keep the comments going below. We're gonna do another our Wise React series. Give us ideas. What do you think we should have our Wise React to? What do you think they want to be a part of, and go from there. And until the next time we get a chance to talk again, thanks to Nikki. And thanks to, because I totally botched this in the intro, thanks to the Gentleman Society of Podcasting, myself, Harvey.
Yeah, Dave.
AJ.
And we just want to say thanks so much for getting sarcastically distracted with us, and have yourselves a killer day. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Take care.